Convoy SC-107 was the 107th of the numbered series of World War II slow convoys of merchant ships from Sydney, Cape Breton Island to Liverpool. The ships departed New York City on 24 October 1942 and were found and engaged by a wolf pack of U-boats which sank 15 ships. It was the heaviest loss of ships from any transatlantic convoy through the winter of 1942–43. Background: as Western Atlantic coastal convoys brought an end to the Second Happy Time, Admiral Karl Donitz, the Befehlshaber Air U-boot Commander-in-Chief of U-boats, shifted focus to the mid-Atlantic to avoid aircraft patrols. Although convoy routing was less predictable in the mid-ocean, Donitz anticipated that the increased numbers of U-boats being produced would be able to effectively search for convoys with the advantage of intelligence gained through Dean's decryption of British Naval Cipher No. 3. However, only 20% of the 180 transatlantic convoys sailing from the end of July 1942 until the end of April 1943 lost ships to U-boat attack. Discovery: Dean's decrypted message traffic detailing routing and composition of Convoy SC-107, and 15 U-boats of Wolfpack Veilchen were deployed to intercept it. The convoy was found and reported by U-522 on 29 October as the Western Local Escort Force turned the convoy over to Mid-Ocean Escort Force Group C4, consisting of the Canadian River-class destroyer HMCS Restigouche with the Flower-class corvettes HMCS Amherst, HMCS Arvida, HMCS Sherbrooke, HMS Celandine, HMCS Algoma, HMCS Moosejaw, and the convoy rescue ship Stockport. Restigouche obtained an HF/DF bearing when U-522 sent the first convoy contact report at 16:24, and the convoy made a course change after dark in the hope of evading the shadowing U-boat. As Wolfpack Veilchen assembled to intercept the convoy, U-520 was sunk by a No. 10 Squadron RCAF Digby bomber, and U-658 was sunk by RCAF Lockheed Hudson. U-438 found the convoy and assumed shadowing responsibility from U-522. First attack on 1/2 November. Stockport and Restigouche located 25 HF/DF transmissions from the 8 U-boats in contact with the convoy on the afternoon of the 1st of November, but the single destroyer was unable to investigate all of them. At sunset, Celandine was sent to investigate the closest HF/DF fix 8 miles off the port quarter, and Restigouche made a sweep astern. After sunset, a clearing sky revealed the flickering aurora borealis to port, silhouetting the convoy and its 3 remaining escorts. As Restigouche engaged an Aztec contact 6 miles behind the convoy with depth charges and star shells, novice merchant sailors revealed the convoy location by firing snowflake pyrotechnic mortars, while Restigouche pursued another U-boat. U-boat ace Captain Lieutenant Siegfried von Forstner's U-402 passed the destroyer at 22:40 while overtaking the silhouetted convoy from astern. While Arvida had a radar malfunction, U-402 penetrated the starboard side on the convoy screen about midnight to torpedo the British freighter Empire Sunrise. Empire Sunrise fired 2 flares and most of the ships in convoy fired snowflake mortars. U-402 dived to avoid the rapidly approaching Restigouche, whose depth charges were comfortably distant. Restigouche narrowly avoided torpedoes launched a short time time later by U-381 as the convoy changed course 40 degrees to port to confuse the U-boats, while Celandine dropped astern to screen Stockport, rescuing survivors from Empire Sunrise. U-402 twice more penetrated the convoy screen where Celandine had been and torpedoed the Greek freighter Rhinos and British freighters Dalcroix, Empire Antelope, and Empire Leopard. U-402 was lightly damaged by machine gun fire from Amherst and by a 3-inch projectile from a merchant ship. Captain Lieutenant von Forstner would receive the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross for his work in U-402 during this convoy and in Convoy SC 118 on the next patrol. U-522 torpedoed the Greek freighter Mount Pelion and British freighters Hartington and Miratima. During the melee, merchant ships avoided 2 torpedoes launched by U-84, 3 from U-521, and 4 from U-442, while Arvida avoided damage from machine gun fire by several merchant ships who thought she might be a U-boat. The 2nd of November, rain and misty weather caused the U-boats to lose contact after U-522 torpedoed Greek freighter Parthenon in a daylight attack. The escort was reinforced by the V-class destroyer Vanessa from Convoy HX-213 before 9 U-boats regained contact when visibility improved on 3 November. Second attack on 3/4 November. Celandine, Amherst and Vanessa attacked the gathering U-boats unsuccessfully while the convoy reassembled after losing cohesion in the fog. One of the straggling merchant ships avoided 2 torpedoes launched by U-438. U-521 torpedoed the American tanker Hahira shortly after dawn on 3 November. Stockport was carrying 350 survivors by the time she picked up those from Hahira. Harbour tugs Usuncash and Pesicus had been attached to the convoy for passage to Iceland, and were detailed to act as rescue ships because Stockport was carrying 3 times her intended capacity. The little tugs were ordered to keep the running lights on in their assigned rescue positions astern of the convoy to minimize chances they might be mistaken for U-boats. U-89 torpedoed the convoy Commodore's freighter Jaipur after sunset on the 3rd of November, but snowflake illumination was minimal because most ships had exhausted the supply of pyrotechnics during the earlier attacks. Moose Jaw and Algoma made unsuccessful counterattacks before U-132 torpedoed the Dutch freighter Hobbema and British freighters Empire Lynx and Atmura 2310. The entire convoy and nearby U-boats were shaken 30 minutes later by a heavy explosion believed to have been one of the largest prior to atomic bomb testing. The magnitude of the explosion temporarily stopped the engine of the rescue tug 6 miles astern of the convoy and caused several ships to believe they had been torpedoed. Titus was abandoned before the captain realized she was undamaged and returned with the skeleton crew including survivors from other ships. U-boats submerged at a depth of 200 feet reported being severely jolted, and U-132 was believed to have been destroyed by the detonation. The cause of the explosion was undetermined, but assumed to have resulted from detonation of the ammunition cargo of either Hobbema or Hatamura while they were sinking. On the 4th of November, Arvida and Celandine were detached to Iceland with Stockport and the 2 tugs overcrowded with a total of 590 survivors. U-89 torpedoed the British freighter Daleby shortly before the convoy escort was reinforced by the USCG Treasury-class cutter Ingham and the Wicks-class destroyers Leary and Schenck from Iceland. No. 120 Squadron RAF B-24 Liberators scrambled from Iceland, drove off the remaining U-boats, and the convoy reached Liverpool on 10 November. Ships in convoy